I want to make sure everybody hits the subscribe button and hit that thumbs up, and make sure you go to treeoflibertysociety.com and become a member, become a part of the solution, join with others, and enjoy the benefits of membership in the Tree of Liberty Society. So with that, I let Dr. Bradley know that what we're going to do, I want to give some background. So if somebody hasn't heard of Skull and Bones before, you understand you've got some context of what we're going to be getting into, that it's not just a fraternity, that this is a very dark and a very evil, a very satanic organization. And so with that, some people have done some videos on the national Skull and Bones. And so I want to share those with you before really getting into what we've done here on the local level. And so just put together a little slideshow presentation for you. And this is kind of a sneak peek into some of the things that we'll be getting in volume 2 of Invasion, is covering Skull and Bones as one of the tentacles of this Hydra beast we know as the international conspiracy. And Art Thompson did a video on his channel, and I just took a brief clip out of that video, just kind of get to the meat of the issue of what it is that the aims and goals are of the organization.
This week, we look at an organization that has played a major role in American society and politics, Skull and Bones. The official story is that Skull and Bones, or the Order, was started in 1832 primarily by William Huntington Russell, with the help of Alphonso Taft, as Chapter 322 of a German secret society. The speculation is that the Order was the Illuminati, but no positive proof has been found that it was. Since Russell studied at the University of Berlin and Skull and Bones became known as the Brotherhood of Death, it is likely that it was part of the Totenbund, or Order of Death, itself a descendant of the Illuminati. A telling clue of their origin, even though circumstantial, is the use of the term the Order, just as the Illuminati was known. The other co-founder of Skull and Bones, Alphonso Taft, played out a more overt influence on America by the positions he held. He became the Secretary of War and the Attorney General in the Grant administration. He ran for governor of Ohio but lost the race over his desire to see the Bible eliminated from the public schools. Of course, Taft's son, William Howard Taft, who was also a member of Skull and Bones, became president. He played the leading role in the establishment of the National Chamber of Commerce, which today plays a dominant role in promoting foreign entanglements under the guise of free trade, all of which is using patient gradualism to destroy American sovereignty.
Okay, so that was the brief background of how it is their agenda is anti-sovereignty. They are a part of building the New World Order. Now we get into the satanic nature of Skull and Bones, with the rituals and the things that go on with in the tomb of Skull and Bones.
He's come pretty close. She was part of a team that successfully recorded part of the initiation ceremony that takes place in the tomb's courtyard.
Okay, you have the doorway here.
Yeah.
Okay, then to the right you have a hedge, and then you have an evergreen tree. If you follow that line straight back, courtyard's in there.
Ah, okay.
So
that's where they have the ceremonies in
the outdoor part of it. Part of it was indoors. So we only got to see the outdoor part.
Right.
We only got to, and to listen to the outdoor part. God only knows what went on indoors.
And what did you hear? What was it you know? You managed to get this unique
it was
access
disgusting. It was gross. I mean, they were pretending to murder people.
What was the tone of it, though? Was it jokey or was it quite...
No, it wasn't jokey at all. It was sick. That's about the only way I can describe it. It was sick.
What you're hearing is the first recording ever made of the Skull and Bones initiation ceremony. It has never been broadcast before. 15 new members of the club are being introduced into the macabre rituals of Skull and Bones by the senior students who are about to graduate. The club has what some might see as a strange fascination with death, skulls and bones. There's the chants too, difficult to hear first of all, but including the devil equals death, death equals death.
Okay, so we had that background on what their goals are and the satanic nature of it. And in 1910, if you saw the presentation, a Yale member of Skull and Bones came to Utah. He was a pastor of a church, and he came to Utah to form a chapter of Skull and Bones here at the University of Utah. You can see here's a scan of one of the yearbooks showing Skull and Bones as a chapter here. And in that, in another article written at the University of Utah, says the society is a secret one and their ways are deep and mysterious. So I want to show you that they are not separate, they're not different, that these organizations are connected. They were formed just like Russell Trust, when that formed at Yale, a member of that organization came to Utah to form a chapter of it in Utah. And that society is a secret one, and their ways are deep and mysterious. We have here the yearbook talking about Skull and Bones. It says Skull and Bones makes us believe in infanticide. Infanticide. If you don't know what infanticide is, that is the murder of infants. And so they're dressed up as babies, and so now they're talking about the murdering of babies. And now the ceremonies, just like they are at Yale, have been reported as initiates laying naked in a coffin with another member of the Skull and Bones and confessing their sins to that individual. Here we see a report at the University of Utah about Tom Morrow, one of the initiates, while being initiated into Skull and Bones, goes temporarily insane. It was so disturbing to him. The initiation into the Skull and Bones at the University of Utah was so disturbing that he went temporarily insane. And because of the things that he did while under his temporary insanity, the head of the University of Utah says that frantically telephoned the police, explaining that the University of Utah will pay all expenses to Provo. And so the university has tight connection to the Skull and Bones, was willing to cover the cost of damages done by this man that had gone temporarily insane because of the initiation into Skull and Bones. And so in 2015, 2018, the university paper interviewed some members of the Skull and Bones. So just like at Yale, they dressed in their death masks and their occult outfits. So they continued on. We have Senator Robert F. Bennett as a sample of a prominent member of Skull and Bones at the University of Utah, as well as Robert D. Hales. Robert D. Hales, we have here from the University of Utah yearbook. He was a member, but he wasn't just a member. The university paper reports him as the head of the organization. Okay, he's the head. He's not just a member. He is seen as someone that is so much involved. He is the leader of the organization. And there's another organization that is closely tied to Skull and Bones, not just tied to it, but they are the different levels of the same organization. It says members of Skull and Bones, Junior Men's Honorary, automatically become Owl and Key members. Okay, so it is with others also being tapped to Skull and Bones or to Owl and Key. And so they automatically, Skull and Bones or Owl and Key is the next level up from Skull and Bones. And so it is like moving up the chain of command within this organization. This is reported again in the Skull paper. It says members of Skull and Bones automatically become Owl and Key members and will be initiated. Okay, it says right here in this article, annual Skull and Bones initiation, most laughable face to date. What's laughable? These guys are mocking, but this is really evil. Skull and Bones entering into the sanctified realms utilize their greatest and rarest ingenuity in smearing ungodly costumes and requirements on the year's goats. Now, goats has a reference to Baphomet, the goat head on the satanic symbol, and that is what they call the initiates into the organization. And it is the Owl and Key that decides what the initiates will do for that year, what ungodly thing that they will be required to do to be initiated into the organization. Another article reports about, let me go back. The initiation consists in following out the series of foolish and embarrassing stunts laid out by the Owl and Key Club, made up of last year's members of Skull and Bones. So again, documenting that Owl and Key is who decides what the initiation will be into Skull and Bones for the younger members. That Skull and Bones initiation, okay, this is another article talking about its initiation. Truly Owl and Key members have touched the depths and soared to the heights of their imagination. Incoming aspirants to the Skull and Bones, that gateway, so Skull and Bones is the gateway into the mysterious Owl and Key. So we need to understand that, right? So as bad as what we know about Skull and Bones, it's merely a gateway into a higher organization. Skull and Bones, SKAIB, SKAIB, is a nickname also for Skull and Bones. It says here, this is a report from the University of Utah's newspaper, 12 candidates will complete goathood, again, calling the initiates goats for Skull and Bones. They'll be inducted into the organization by the members of Skull and Bones. Members of Owl and Key. The event will be held in honor of the members of the correlating Owl and Key. So we have SKAIB is honoring, of course, their superiors. And we have here, this is what I was talking about in the beginning, was the news that what really made the rounds over the weekend on a lot of social media, and was a lot of people were contacted about Russell M. Nelson's membership in Skull and Bones. But here we see he's a member of Owl and Key, so the higher organization than Skull and Bones. But in his out-of-print autobiography, Russell Nelson says, university life was wonderful and successful. On April 3rd, 1944, I was elected president of the Sigma Chi fraternity. I was also later elected to the honorary societies of Skull and Bones in the junior year, Owl and Key in the senior year. And so he in the documents, they show that he was a member of the higher organization, as well as the entryway into that higher organization being Skull and Bones, and what that means. And so we also know that that there are other people that are in power, just like at the Yale organization. People of influence and power, of course, are found heavily throughout that. We have Marvin J. Ashton, former U.S. Senator Wallace Bennett, Rocky Anderson, former Salt Lake City mayor, another senator, the son of Wallace Bennett, Frank Moss, another U.S. Senator, Robert E. Hales mentioned earlier, Hugh W. Pinnock, Bruce Jenkins, who was a federal judge, and Vernon B. Romney, as well as John Thomas Green, another